You ever look at your life and realize you've accidentally built a prison out of high-end appliances and climate control? You checked the boxes, you did the work, you secured the perimeter. You've reached a point where you can control the temperature of every room you walk into, and you never have to be hungry for more than 20 minutes. On paper, you've won the game. But there's a cost to a life without friction. I know how that sounds, especially when you've spent 20 years trying to eliminate it, but stay with me here. Why is it that the better your life gets, the more fragile you feel? Maybe it's not every night, but it's often enough that you notice that 3 a.m. wake-up call, that sudden sense of dread instead of purpose. It's because you've engineered the struggle out of your existence, and when you do that, you inadvertently engineer away your vitality. Listen, comfort stops being a reward the moment it becomes your default setting. When that happens, you aren't resting, you're eroding. You are experiencing the biological cost of total convenience. Think about where we came from for a second. For a few million years, our ancestors survived because they had to meet resistance. They lived in a world with winter. They lived in a world where food required actual effort, and safety was a daily negotiation with nature. Now, look at your day. Your DNA doesn't understand your ergonomic chair. Your nervous system doesn't know what to do with a life that never dips below 70 degrees. It expects a fight. It expects a heavy load. And when it doesn't find one, it doesn't just relax. It turns inward. It starts to invent dragons to slay because it has nothing else to do. That's where the low-grade anxiety comes from. That's why you're irritable with your family over things that don't matter. You're a high-performance engine idling in a garage, and the carbon is building up. You're getting domesticated, and your body knows it. Let's be real for a second. When was the last time you were actually cold? Not, I forgot my jacket cold, but cold enough that your body starts to argue with you. When was the last time you had a conversation that was so honest it made your heart race? If you have to think about that for more than a few seconds, you're living in a state of decay. You're safe, but you're not strong. And deep down, in that quiet space before the sun comes up, you already know it.
I worked with a guy once. Let's call him David. David was 48, at the top of his field, had the house, the family, the whole spread. He told me he felt like a ghost in his own life. He said, I'm successful, but I'm flat. I don't feel anger, but I don't feel joy either. I'm just hovering. David had spent 2 decades optimizing for fine. He'd removed the struggle, so he'd inadvertently removed the payoff. So you can't selectively numb life. When you numb the discomfort of the cold, or the heavy lift, or the hard truth, you numb your capacity for triumph too. You can't have the view without the climb. Does that resonate with you? David wasn't failing. He was just unchallenged. He was a warrior who had been told the war was over, but no one told him what to do with his sword, so it sat in the scabbard and rusted. He felt that rust in his bones every single morning. The Stoics had a word for this, ascesis. It just means training, not exercise to look good in a gym mirror, but training the mind to be unshakable. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome, but he'd spend days eating scraps and wearing rough wool. Not because he was a masochist, but because he wanted to remind himself that his happiness didn't belong to his silk robes. He wanted to know that if everything was taken away, the man underneath was still solid. When you know you can survive on a cold floor, the fear of losing your bed loses its power over you. When you choose your own pain, you become a free man, because you're no longer a slave to your own conveniences. So, how do we fix this? How do we reset the engine without blowing up the life you've worked so hard to build? It's not about a new program. I want you to run an experiment for a week, just 7 days. Don't commit to a new identity, just test the friction and see what happens to your sleep, your mood, and your patience. First, you have to put a load on your back. Stop going to the gym just to move some shiny machines in a climate-controlled room. Find something awkward. Lift a sandbag, move a heavy rock in the backyard. Do something that makes that lizard brain in the back of your head scream at you to quit. And then do one more set. And at least once this week, go for a long walk. No music, no podcasts, no phone. Just a pack on your shoulders and your own thoughts. That's where the ghost starts to feel real again. That's where you realize you can carry a lot more than you thought you could. Have you ever noticed how much louder your own voice gets when the world goes quiet? Second, find the cold. Your body is a heat-generating machine, but you've outsourced that job to the HVAC. Remind your nervous system what it's capable of. End your morning shower with some time in the cold. Start with 30 seconds if you have to, and work up to 2 minutes by the end of the week. When that water hits, your brain will tell you you're dying. It will tell you to turn the dial back to the warmth. Stay with me here. Don't move. Stand there. Breathe. Show yourself that you are the captain of this ship. That 2-minute victory will carry you through 8 hours of corporate stress that used to break you. Finally, and this is the hard one, stop hiding from the truth. We get to 40 and we become experts at managing people. We stay nice to avoid the mess, but that niceness is just a different kind of cage. It's dishonest, and frankly, it's exhausting. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Don't be angry, don't be aggressive, just be surgical. Tell your spouse or your business partner or yourself exactly what you need. Say it calm, no prosecution. Then stand in the silence that follows. Let it be uncomfortable. That silence is where respect is rebuilt. Look, I'm not telling you to be miserable. Comfort is a beautiful thing, but it's only a gift when it's earned. A warm house feels like a sanctuary only after you've been out in the rain. A soft bed is a luxury only after you've put in the work. The problem isn't the comfort, it's that you've been using it as a default. Most men will watch this and go right back to their climate-controlled lives. They'll stay in the cage because the temperature is fine. They'll continue to rot slowly until they realize they've spent their whole lives avoiding the very things that would have made them feel alive. But if you're still listening, it's probably because you've reached that same conclusion yourself. You know that the easy path leads to a hard life, and the hard path leads to an easy one. If you're ready to reclaim that edge, I've put together a basic protocol. It's just a simple 7-day reset to get the carbon out of your system. Start tomorrow morning. Cold water, heavy weights, radical truth. Reintroduce yourself to the man you were supposed to be before things got too comfortable. Choose your discomfort, or life will choose it for you. And trust me, life is a much harsher architect than you are. I'll see you in the arena. Stay intentional.